The first thing she said wasn't hello. It was, if I don't fix that gate today, it's finally going to fall on someone, and knowing my luck, it'll be me. I looked up from my coffee and saw her standing there, hair pulled back in a rushed knot, one hand gripping the crooked wooden gate that leaned like it had given up on life. I almost said no. I had deadlines, a half-finished morning, and a habit of avoiding complications. But something in her tired smile, the kind that asked for help without demanding it, made me set my mug down and nod. I didn't know then that this small favor would quietly rearrange everything I thought I knew about reward, kindness, and what it means to be seen. The gate was worse up close. Rusted hinges, splintered wood, years of weather and neglect pressed into every crack. She stood nearby, apologizing too much, offering water, then snacks, then silence when she realized I worked better without an audience. We talked anyway. About small things at first, how long she'd lived here, how the neighborhood used to be louder, warmer, fuller. Her laughter came easily, but it always faded a second too soon, like she remembered something she didn't want to explain. As I tightened bolts and replaced hinges, I noticed how she watched my hands, not in a flattering way, but with quiet appreciation, as if effort itself was something rare to her. Halfway through, the gate refused to cooperate. A stubborn post wouldn't align, no matter how much force I applied. Frustration crept in, the kind that makes you question why you ever said yes. I muttered under my breath. She heard it and surprised me by stepping closer, placing her hand on the wood beside mine, steadying it. "It's okay," she said softly. "Things that have been broken for a long time usually resist being fixed." The words landed heavier than she probably intended. I paused, looked at her, and for a moment the gate felt like the least important thing between us. When it was finally done, the gate swung smoothly, almost proudly. She clapped once, genuinely happy, and then went quiet. She looked at the fixed gate, then at me, like she was weighing something. "You deserve a little extra reward," she said, her voice gentle, not teasing. My mind jumped to all the wrong places, and I felt embarrassed for it. Before I could respond, she added, "Not what you're thinking. Just come inside for a minute." Curiosity won over caution. Her house felt different from outside, warmer, softer, filled with light that seemed to linger instead of rush. She handed me a glass of lemonade, then disappeared down the hallway. I stood there awkwardly, wondering if I'd misread everything, if this was just neighborly hospitality dressed in mystery. When she returned, she was holding an old photo album. She sat across from me, opening it carefully, like it held something fragile. "No one ever stays long enough to hear these stories," she said. "I thought, maybe you would." She told me about the house, how it once echoed with voices, how the gate had been built by her father, repaired by her husband, and ignored by her grief. She talked about loss without drama, about loneliness without self-pity. I listened, really listened, and realized how rare that had become in my own life. When I finally left, the sun was lower, the gate stood straight, and something inside me felt unexpectedly full. I thought that was the reward. I was wrong. The next morning, I woke up thinking about her words, the way she said broken things resist being fixed. I told myself it was just a neighborly moment, a one-time connection. But when I stepped outside, she was there again, holding 2 cups of coffee, as if she'd been waiting. "I realized I never asked how you're doing," she said. That simple sentence hit harder than any grand gesture ever had. I took the cup, and instead of answering automatically, I told her the truth. We sat on her porch, coffee cooling between us, sharing things that usually stay hidden because they feel too ordinary to matter. I talked about feeling invisible in my own routines, about fixing things for everyone else while neglecting myself. She nodded like she understood because she did. The gate creaked once in the breeze but held strong. It felt symbolic without trying to be. Days passed, and small favors turned into shared moments. She'd ask for help with something minor, then insist I stay. Sometimes we didn't even talk. Sometimes we talked for hours. The challenge wasn't fixing gates or broken hinges anymore, it was learning to let connection happen without labeling it, without rushing it, without fear. Old habits fought back. Doubt whispered that this was temporary, that kindness always comes with an expiration date. One evening, I almost pulled away, convinced I was reading too much into everything. That's when she stopped me at the gate. You know, she said, the extra reward I meant wasn't the stories or the coffee. I froze, heart thudding. She smiled, soft but certain. It was reminding you that your time matters. That what you do matters. That you matter. I didn't know what to say. No one had ever framed appreciation like that for me before. The real test came when the gate broke again, not physically, but metaphorically. An argument, born from fear rather than anger, pushed us apart for a few days. Silence settled in, heavy and familiar. I almost accepted it as the natural end of things. But then I remembered her words about resistance and fixing what's been broken a long time. So I showed up, tools in hand, not for the gate, but for us. We talked. We listened. We admitted we were scared of hoping. The resolution wasn't dramatic. There was no promise of forever spoken out loud. Just an understanding that some rewards aren't about getting more, they're about finally receiving what you didn't know you were missing. That evening, as I walked back home, I passed the gate. It stood firm, catching the light just right. I realized the real reward wasn't what she gave me. It was what we gave each other, a reminder that sometimes the smallest yes can open something far greater than a door.